Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Road, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 16 because I was going to do top 10, and then I got 6 more, and I didn't want to delete any of them. Canyon Carvers for less than $5,000. What in God's green earth is a Canyon Carver, Mark? Are we going to be going over power tools today? No, sir. We're going to be going over cars that are really good at handling, pretty much, and are just like nimble, you know? Canyon carving, hill climb racing, time attack, autocross, whatever it may be. These cars are not the best in a straight line, but they're very, very good at taking corners. Now, really quickly, before we get into that, guys, I wanted to run it by you, just ask you guys what you were thinking. I recently, for those who don't know, I had a recent scare with copyright issues, and it's been scaring me, bugging me, and I was like, man, if that ever happens, I'm screwed. I'm screwed at it. This is my job, for those who don't know. So it's like, if I don't have a YouTube video channel to make videos on, I'm messed up. So I better lock in with YouTube and just start grinding away and doing my own sort of content. So what I would like to know from you guys is, would you guys like to see the how to build series come back? And also, would you guys be interested in more real life content, things like car reviews? I can always like rent a car and just do a review on it or something like that, or even subscriber cars if they have one and they'll reach out to me and they're like, hey, yeah, you can drive my car for video, something like that. Or even the third thing being like just car builds in general. Now, obviously that one is a little bit iffy because it costs a lot of money to build a car, obviously, and I don't have a lot of money, so keep that in mind. But those are another ones that I was thinking about. Just let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Other sort of video ideas that way that you guys would want to see. Because I know you guys like the cheap cars and stuff like that, but it's best to expand, I would say. So anyway, song of the day is called Ninth Cloud by Zach Bryan. It's obviously a country song, but Zach Bryan, for those who don't know, is like an absolute messiah to me. I love his music. It's so good. Without further ado, let's get right into it though with number 16. Also, silly me, I realized I said it was less than $5,000, but realistically it's less than $7,000 because there are a couple of cars on this list where they're like right over the $5,000 mark, so I didn't want to say 5K. Either way, 16th place is going to the Honda Prelude 5th generation, the newest generation. Well, I guess technically not. I guess they're coming out with like some weird new EV Prelude. Whatever. Either way, this one, the good one, comes with a 2.2 liter inline 4, making 200 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. There's going to be a little bit of a you're going to notice a little bit of a pattern or trend here with the front wheel drive cars, but it's not just front wheel drive. There are some rear wheel drive cars here. Honda is obviously lightweight, short wheelbase. This one is a little bit of a longer wheelbase though, and that's why it's here at 16. Coming in at number 15 spot is a bit of a weird one that you guys probably did not expect to see on this list, the Pontiac Fiero GT. I know, for pretty much everything else, it's not that great of a car, but for canyon carving, while it's running, it's a good car. That's kind of the reason why it's here at number 15 spot, though, by the way. The car comes with a 2.8 liter V6, making 140 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That horsepower number is obviously not that great, and it is a V6, an 80s American V6 on top of that. So, yeah, it's not going to make that much more power either, but it is obviously lightweight with a short wheelbase. However, it's here at 15th because of the big downside to this car being the fact that it just likes to blow up and catch on fire, like 9 times out of 10. So keep that in mind. Obviously, while it's running, it's a great canyon carver, but it's most of the time you're going to be pushing it down the canyon. 14th place falls into the same category, and unfortunately this one's a little bit more like, I don't know if I'd say it's more reliable, but it's a little bit more predictable. However, it's also a little bit more expensive. It's the Mazda RX7 FC. There's also a lot more aftermarket support for this car, though, and the engine is better. It comes with a 1.3 liter 2-rotor rotary engine, obviously, making 160 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive as well. For some reason, I wrote on here that it's front-wheel drive. That is just not true. But yeah, it's rear-wheel drive, and it's a little bit heavier, I believe, than the Fiero GT. But again, the FC RX7 has significantly more aftermarket support, has significantly more aftermarket capabilities for it. And you could always swap the motor. Same thing with the Fiero, but it's going to be a lot easier than in an FC RX7 just because it's not mid-engined. It's overall, it's going to be a better option, but it is going to be more expensive than the other car, and it's still going to be just as unreliable. 13th place isn't much better in terms of its reliability, but it's getting there. We're getting there, okay? It's going to the Mini Cooper S R53. It's definitely more reliable than an FC RX7 or a Fiero. Let's just leave it at that. And on top of that, the car itself, I do think, is a better option for the typical canyon carver out there. Comes with a 1.6 liter supercharged inline 4, making 180 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. We did 20 horsepower jump over and over then. The Fiero was 140. FC RX7 was 160. R53 Mini Cooper, 180. Look at that. Look at that. That's a pattern right there, baby. That's pattern recognition. We have high IQ over here at the Mark Roden channel. Either way, this car is extremely lightweight, extremely short wheelbase. It is front wheel drive instead of rear wheel drive, but some people actually prefer that anyways. And it does have aftermarket support and tuning potential, but yet again, the engine is pretty unreliable. Alrighty lads, coming in at the number 12 spot is really only here at the number 12 spot and not higher on the list because of its weight and its wheelbase, unfortunately. It is a little bit larger than, like dude, let me explain something to you guys for those who don't know much about yet the canyon carving aspect. Those guys want their cars to be as small as possible. Dude, that's why motorcycles love canyon carving and stuff. They're just so tiny. But the Porsche 944 comes with a 2.5 liter inline four, making 143 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. The horsepower number is not great. However, this car is decently reliable at least compared to what we've been talking about so far. Overall, it is a much better option than what we've mentioned. However, yet again, the weight and the size of the car is definitely a little bit of a downside. Coming in at the number 11 spot is really not much better, honestly. It's going to the Ford Focus ST. Now, the reason why I put the Focus ST higher than the 944, though, even though I do think the 944, once you start to modify it, would be a better option, is because the Focus ST out of the gate is a significantly better option, like by far. The car comes with a 2.2 liter turbocharged inline four, making 252 horsepower. So many twos there, and it is front wheel drive. 252 horsepower is a lot out of the gate. Now, is the car a modern, more heavy car compared to everything we've talked about so far? Absolutely. It absolutely is. However, again, you do have the 252 horsepower to back that up a little bit. And on top of that, the car does like to take power. It's a reliable car. It's a good, reliable, safe option, but it's not going to be the best option. Coming in at the number 10 spot, breaking its way into Le Top 10, is going to the wonderful Toyota MR2 SW20. The SW20 is the second generation. Sorry, I don't know why that was why I forgot that for a second there. But yeah, the SW20 is the second generation of the Toyota MR2, and I love these cars in terms of looks, in terms of just styling, and just, typical JDM fanboy stuff in general. I love it, but in terms of the performance, it's also pretty good. It comes with a 2.2 liter inline four, making 130 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. Yes, the horsepower number is low. Let's just get that out of the way. Yes, the car is mid-engine. Let's get that out of the way. So no, it's not going to be that very easy to swap a better engine into this car. But it's extremely light with an extremely small wheelbase, and yes, it does experience the snapovers here, blah, 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 but you could very easily just swap this engine with a K-Series. I know that that's not, super fun, to do, and it's going to take a lot of time and more money on top of buying the MR2, which is already a pretty big price tag, but overall, in the end, it'll be a car that's really, really worth it. Coming in at the number 9 spot is going to be going to the Dodge Neon SRT4. I feel like I haven't talked about the SRT4 Neon in quite some time, actually, on this channel, so I'm happy to be talking about it again. Really quick, though, I completely forgot to mention this in the intro. In the description, I'm going to start linking my other YouTube channels. I have other YouTube channels, obviously, in the description that I make, and so from now on I'm going to start linking them down there. So if you guys like any sort of, just go check it out. If you like what you see, subscribe. If you don't subscribe. I don't want people to subscribe just because they feel like they have to. Either way, the SRT4 Neon comes with a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline four, making 230 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. Overall, this is just a really good option. The only real downside I can think of with the SRT4 Neon is that they are getting up there in price, and it's going to become a little bit sketchy to go look at them. But besides that, they're a pretty good option. Yeah, we're now officially at the part of the list where the rest of these cars are just great cars for their price for canyon carving fans. 8th place is going to the BMW 328i E36. The only reason why the E36 isn't a little bit higher is it's definitely a little bit longer wheelbase than you would want. However, you could always, opt to get a compact E36, which I don't think is a great idea, but you could always do it. The car comes with a 2.8 liter inline six, making 190 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. Yeah, overall, it's just a really good option. E36s have been nailed though by the used car market. There's a lot of them that are much more expensive than they should be, but overall, if you're smart, if you're safe when going to look at these cars, and you find yourself a good deal on an E36, yeah, it's obviously still a good option. Coming into the number 7 spot, I almost just choked, is going to another one of the absolute banger boys for the canyon carving aspect. A Honda is what I'm trying to say. Hondas are great for the canyon carving world. They're like the gatekeepers of the canyon carving world, and this is the Honda Civic EG. You can still find these under $7,000 very easily. Once you do, they come with a 1.6 liter inline four, making 100 horsepower on the dot, and it is front wheel drive. However, Most likely the EG you're going to find is not going to be bone stock anymore. Most of them aren't. They're almost all of them are modified. So yours probably will have more than 100 horsepower. Might even, you can find like a K swapped freaking EG Civic for less than 7K nowadays. There's so many of them out there with just random mods done to them. So once you do, it's an extremely good option. It's super lightweight, super small wheelbase. It'll just absolutely rip up the canyons. Coming in at the number 6 spot is yet again just another good one. Like, again, guys, at this point, there's really no reason why this one's at number 6 and not first place. Like, there's very, very few things that separate this one from the top. It's a Subaru WRX Bug-Eye specifically. You can find a Blob-Eye for less than 7K, and you could probably even find a Hawkeye if you're really patient. But the Bug-Eye is by far the most, like, responsible one, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't know. The car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged flat 4 making 225 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. The only slight downside is, of course, the Subaru reliability with the head gaskets. That is obviously a little bit of a problem. But with 225 horsepower out of the gate, as long as you can drop a couple pounds on this thing, it's pretty much set from the start. Like, you really don't have to do many modifications. You don't have to get much more power than 225. That's pretty good. I guess the word I was looking for there was common. The most common one, maybe? I still don't know. Either way, 5th place is going to the Audi A4 B5, another all-wheel drive car, this time with that wonderful Quattro all-wheel drive system in it. But overall, it's just still a good option. I don't know, it's kind of iffy on whether or not Subaru's all-wheel drive system or Audi's all-wheel drive system is better. I think Audi's is a little bit, though. The car comes with a 1.8-liter turbocharged inline 4, making 150 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. Yeah, that's less horsepower than the WRX, but it also weighs a little bit less, and on top of that, this is the 1.8T. You can get a lot more power reliably out of this motor than you can with the EJs that came in the Subarus. It's just overall a better platform, I would say, than the WRX. Coming in at 4th place, though, is probably like the hidden option of this list. I feel like this is the one that most people were not going to expect, but it is just great, and I'm sick and tired of acting like it's not. It's the BMW Z3. The fact that people don't turn Z3s into race cars more often than they should is absolutely surprising to me. The car comes with a 3-liter inline 6, making 225 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. I've said it every single time I talk about the Z3. This is pretty much just like a smaller, shorter wheelbase, lighter weight, 2-seater E46, E36, whatever engine option you decide to get, because that's literally what it is. It's the same motor. This is the same one that was in the 330ci E46s, which is obviously a really good car and is already a good canyon carver. But again, this is even lighter with an even shorter wheelbase, even more low to the ground, better aerodynamics than those cars are. It's just overall the better option. It's the German Miata. Now, because it is German, though, the reliability isn't the same as a Miata, which is why it's here at the number 4 spot. Coming in at 3rd place, however, is also German, but this time much more reliable. It's pretty much the exact same car realistically as the Audi A4 B5 we just talked about, but in my opinion slightly better. The Volkswagen GTI Mark IV. Why do I put the GTI higher than the Audi A4? Don't ask me. I don't know. I just like it better. The car comes with the same motor, the 1.8-liter turbocharged inline 4. I don't know why I just trampled over my words there, making 170 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. A little bit more horsepower from factory, which is obviously nice to see, but who really cares? You'll be putting more power to these cars anyways. I do believe the wheelbase is probably slightly shorter. I didn't do the exact research on that, so don't quote me on that. But overall, the Mark IV GTIs just tend to have more people building them and stuff like that, with more aftermarket support for them than the A4 does. You guys knew it was coming. 2nd place is not a list about good cheap cars without me mentioning my car. The 2nd place is the Acura Integra GSR, except I don't have a GSR, I have an LS. Either one is honestly really good. I'm gonna put the GSR here though, because finally we can. Normally I only have to talk about the LS because the GSRs are over 5K. But now that we're under 7K, I could talk about the GSR. The car comes with a 1.8-liter inline 4, making 170 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. It is just overall the better option, obviously, than the LS, especially if you're going for performance. However, it's not significantly better, though, so if you do only have like $3,000 or whatever, and you can only afford an LS or even a GS, it's fine. You'll get away with it. And once you do, you have an absolutely incredible platform. The Type Rs, at least, were the fastest front-wheel drive cars when they came out, and obviously the vast majority of these cars are 90s cars, so safe to say it's probably one of the fastest front-wheel drive cars that you can buy for less than 7K. However, yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise to absolutely anybody that first place, the best canyon carving car out there for less than $7,000 is still, even in 2025, the Mazda Miata NA. I'm not the biggest Miata fan, you guys know that, but however, it's almost impossible for me to not mention Miatas in almost any one of my cheap car videos because they are truly just that good. The car comes with a 1.8-liter inline 4, making 135 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Are they more expensive nowadays than like 2 years ago? Yeah, by probably almost double the price. Like 2 years ago, you could probably find a Miata for like $3,000. That same Miata now today is probably like $6,000. So yeah, it's a little silly. The price is definitely, they're definitely overpriced. However, they still are genuinely just really freaking good options for what they are. It's exactly what a canyon carving kind of guy wants. It's fun in the aspect of that it's rear-wheel drive, and it's a convertible and everything like that, so that's obviously a lot of fun. It's got the absolute smallest wheelbase you could possibly get with the absolute lightest weight you can possibly get in a engine that's extremely reliable, and an engine bay that can hold a significant number of engine swaps. Like the Miata's engine bay was a lot larger than it should have been, and it can hold a lot. And so it's just everything for the car is also super cheap. It's super easy to work on. It is overall just going to be an absolute blast to drive for a canyon carver. It's an absolute go-kart. It will be so much fun. I genuinely think this is probably the best option. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 16 best canyon carver cars for less than $7,000. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the description for my other YouTube channels. It's called Giggity FS, which is so I'll put it in the description anyways, next to the link, like what it is, so that way you don't click on it if you're not interested. But they're both gaming channels. One channel is about From Software stuff, which is, you know, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all that stuff, and the other one is about like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Rainbow Six Siege, stuff like that. Just other channels that I kind of wanted to make. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys think that it's a good idea to do other sort of content and stuff like that, and if you guys would actually watch that. But don't lie, you know, if you wouldn't watch that, if you don't want to watch that, be honest. Excuse me, be honest though. Be like, yeah, no, I don't want to watch that, man. It's not my style. Like I come to this channel to see the cheap car videos, because that's just what I want to know, man. I want to know your honest opinion. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings because you don't want to watch me build a car. You know what I mean? It's fine. I don't mind. It's just, I just want to know the truth, okay? But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Also, it's kind of funny because if you did this exact same list, but with like a budget of $15,000, let's say, first place would also just be a Miata. It would just be an ND Miata. Like, no matter what, it's almost always the Miata when it goes to canyon carving. So obviously there are people out there that don't just want to have a Miata. Like, there are some people out there that don't like Miatas. I'm one of those people, actually. I would probably, even if I was buying a canyon carver car, even though I know that the Miata is probably my best option for me, I still would probably not choose it. I would still probably choose something else. It's just not my personal style. I don't know why. It's just not what I like, man. Also, let me know what other videos. Oh, I kind of already said that. I'm sorry to scramble over my words again. Poop. How do you like that? How do you like them apples, huh? Poop. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.